There's a reason monks appear calm even when everything around them is uncertain, and it's not because they live far from the world, free from problems, responsibilities, or pressure. That's the myth. The truth is far more uncomfortable, and far more useful for people like us who live busy, noisy lives. Most people assume calmness comes from controlling the mind. From forcing positive thoughts, suppressing fear, or endlessly repeating affirmations. Monks know something different. Calm doesn't come from control. It comes from relationship. A relationship with the mind that most people never develop. Here's what no one tells you: the mind doesn't become calm when you try to quiet it. It becomes calm when it stops being treated like an enemy. Think about how you deal with your thoughts. The moment anxiety appears, you try to push it away. When an intrusive thought shows up, you judge it. When restlessness hits, you distract yourself. That constant internal resistance creates friction, and friction is noise. Monks don't fight mental noise. They observe it until it loses power. There's a simple but powerful example. Imagine muddy water in a glass. If you shake it, it stays cloudy. If you leave it alone, the mud settles on its own. Most people shake their minds all day, reacting, judging, fixing. Monks learn that clarity emerges naturally when agitation stops, but here's the part they rarely explain out loud: this process is deeply uncomfortable at first. When you stop interfering with your mind, suppressed thoughts surface. Old fears. Unresolved grief. Forgotten desires. That's why people quit meditation quickly. They think it's not working, when in reality, it's working too well. Monks don't seek calm as a feeling. They seek equanimity, the ability to remain steady regardless of what arises. Calm becomes a side effect, not the goal. That distinction changes everything. There's a story often shared quietly in monasteries. A young monk once asked his teacher, "How long should I meditate to find peace?" The teacher replied, "Until you stop trying to find it." That sounds poetic, but it's deeply practical. The moment you chase calm, you reinforce the belief that something is wrong now. That belief keeps the mind restless. Instead, monks practice allowing. Allowing boredom. Allowing discomfort. Allowing the mind to run without chasing it. Over time, the mind realizes it doesn't need to perform. And when performance stops, calm appears naturally. This is something you can notice in daily life. Think about the moments you feel most at peace. It's rarely when everything is perfect. It's when you stop resisting what is. A quiet morning. A slow walk. Sitting alone without needing entertainment. Calm arrives when effort drops. If this perspective already feels different from what you've heard before, take a moment to support the channel. Subscribe and leave a like. It helps this kind of deeper content reach people who are tired of surface-level advice. The secret monks don't advertise is that calm isn't created, it's uncovered. And the path to it isn't adding more techniques, but removing unnecessary struggle. Once you understand that, the mind stops feeling like a battlefield, and starts feeling like a space you can inhabit peacefully. Once you understand that calm is uncovered rather than manufactured, the way you approach your inner world begins to shift. You stop asking, "How do I get rid of this feeling?" and start asking, "What is this feeling trying to show me?" That single change is where the calm mind monks cultivate actually begins. Most people believe monks are calm because they have fewer thoughts. That's not true. The human mind doesn't suddenly stop producing thoughts because you put on robes or live in a monastery. What changes is identification. Monks are trained to see thoughts as events, not as commands or identities. A thought arises, lingers, and dissolves, just like a sound passing through a room. It doesn't need to be followed, argued with, or suppressed. Think about how exhausting it is to take every thought personally. One anxious idea appears and suddenly you're spiraling. One memory surfaces and it defines your entire mood. Monks noticed early on that suffering doesn't come from thoughts themselves, but from believing every thought is you. Calm emerges when that belief loosens. There's a moment many practitioners describe that perfectly illustrates this. During long periods of silence, a wave of restlessness hits. The body wants to move. The mind wants to quit. Instead of acting on it, they sit and observe. At first, the discomfort feels unbearable. Then something surprising happens, it passes. Not because it was fixed, but because it was allowed. That experience teaches the nervous system a powerful lesson: not every urge requires action. Now contrast that with modern life. The moment discomfort appears, we react. We check our phone. We open another tab. We seek stimulation. Over time, the mind becomes conditioned to panic at stillness. Monks reverse that conditioning by staying present through discomfort. Calm isn't the absence of disturbance, it's the confidence that disturbance will pass. This is why their calm feels so grounded. It's not fragile. It doesn't depend on perfect conditions. It's built on trust in impermanence. Everything arises. Everything fades, including anxiety, fear, and inner chaos. There's a quiet discipline monks practice that almost no one talks about. They don't rush to replace negative states with positive ones. When sadness appears, they don't immediately seek happiness. When anger arises, they don't force compassion. They allow the state to fully express itself internally without feeding it. This prevents suppression, which is one of the biggest sources of long-term tension in the mind. You can see this difference in people around you. Some appear calm only when life is going well. Others remain steady even when things fall apart. The difference isn't personality, it's training. The second group has learned not to abandon themselves during discomfort. A simple everyday example makes this clear. Imagine being stuck in traffic. One person clenches their jaw, complains internally, and carries that tension for hours. Another notices the irritation, breathes, and lets it be. The situation is identical. The inner experience is completely different. Calm is not in the environment, it's in the response. Monks refine this skill until it becomes second nature. They don't silence the mind. They stop adding fuel to it. Over time, the mind quiets itself out of respect, not force. If this insight is reshaping how you see calmness, this is a good moment to pause and support the channel. Leave a like and subscribe. It allows these deeper ideas to reach people who are searching for something more sustainable than quick fixes. The calm mind monks cultivate isn't passive. It's alert, spacious, and deeply alive. And the real secret is this: calm isn't something you fall into after years of practice. It begins the moment you stop fighting what's already here. The deepest part of this calm mind secret is not a technique, it's a shift in identity. Monks don't see themselves as the manager of the mind. They see themselves as the space in which the mind operates. That distinction sounds subtle, but it changes everything. When you believe you are your thoughts, every mental fluctuation feels like a personal crisis. A calm moment feels fragile. An anxious moment feels like failure. But when you recognize yourself as the awareness behind those thoughts, the entire experience softens. Thoughts can come and go without shaking your sense of self. Calm stops being something you protect, it becomes something you return to. This is why monks can sit in silence for hours without forcing peace. They aren't waiting for the mind to behave. They are rooted in something deeper than mental activity. And once you touch that depth, even briefly, you realize calm was never missing. It was covered. There's an experience many people have when they first stop doing meditation and simply sit. A moment arrives where the breath feels natural, the body feels grounded, and the mind, even if still active, no longer feels hostile. There's no fireworks. No dramatic insight. Just a quiet sense of being okay without explanation. That moment is the doorway monks learn to recognize and return to. And here's the part that's rarely said plainly: you don't need hours of practice to access this. You need honesty. The willingness to stop manipulating your inner state. To let boredom be boredom. To let tension be tension. To stay present without demanding improvement. Calm responds to permission, not pressure. This is why monks rarely talk about this secret. Because the mind wants instructions, formulas, guarantees. But calm doesn't arrive through accumulation. It arrives through subtraction. Less resistance. Less self-judgment. Less interference. Once you live this way, even ordinary moments change. Washing dishes becomes grounding. Walking becomes meditative. Silence stops feeling awkward. You stop needing constant stimulation to feel alive. You start noticing that peace doesn't require a special setting, it requires attention without conflict, and perhaps the most important realization of all, a calm mind is not a passive mind. It's a clear one. A mind that can respond instead of react. A mind that can feel deeply without drowning. A mind that doesn't rush to escape discomfort because it trusts itself to handle what arises. This is the calm monks carry with them, not because life is easy, but because they stopped arguing with reality. They meet each moment fully, without demanding it be different before they allow themselves peace. If this perspective has changed how you think about calmness, take a moment now to support the channel. Subscribe and leave a like. It helps keep this kind of grounded, honest content alive and reaching the people who need it most. So the next time your mind feels restless, don't ask, "How do I make this stop?" Ask instead, "What happens if I stop fighting?" That question alone can open the door, because the calm mind secret monks never talk about isn't hidden. It's quiet and it's already waiting for you.